Prey is the latest Predator movie that was exclusively released on Hulu, and while I did think it was good, it had sadly too many shortcomings as a whole. Hi everyone, I'm Pat, and today I'm gonna take a look at Prey. Let me start with the positives. Against all odds, the movie was pretty good. It was a successful attempt at recapturing the appeal and vision of the first Predator from 1987, while putting their own spin on it, and for the most part, the movie succeeds. The acting was solid, the locations and environments were stunning, while the stalking of the prey and the thrill of the hunt were well depicted. The new time period this was set in was a good idea to set it apart from the original without changing it up too much. I'd say I enjoyed a good 75% of the movie. And with that said, let's dive into the negatives that overshadowed the reboot. The biggest gripe I had with the movie was that the Predator never felt like a real threat. Let me explain. Yes, the Yautja possessed physical prowess and advanced weaponry, but he seemed more like another dangerous animal roaming the area rather than an active threat. He never killed any villagers besides the ones who hunted him. In fact, the villagers weren't even aware of his existence. The protagonist merely happened to stumble upon his existence by chance. The original handled the threat of the Predator much better. The Predator's cruel and sadistic display of his prey strikes tremendous fear into the hearts of anyone who is unfortunate enough to come across it. But it didn't stop there. It continued to raise the stakes by picking off Dutch's Sqauds members one by one. As the original movie progressed, the killing of the Predator becomes Dutch's main objective. The original manages to rise the stakes from plain survival to personal vendetta in a convincing manner. The movie builds toward that goal in mind from the get-go.
I knew this man.
In Prey, the protagonist on the other hand wanted to prove herself, which I thought kinda sucked as a reason.
It's time. I'm ready for my katamir.
As it further diminished the threat of the Predator. The death of her brother in the final stretch added little to nothing in regard to Naru's motivation. She has been hellbent on killing it throughout the entire movie, so adding a spark to the already existing flame was a nice touch, but ultimately unnecessary. Besides that, we also see the Predator a lot. This isn't outright a negative, since we do get to enjoy the great costume design, but dispels the mystique that surrounded the original Predator, who represented a suspenseful and lethal entity.
I see it.
In the original, Dutch's Sqauds is the deadliest of the deadliest. Each of them possesses extraordinary combat prowess and sophisticated weaponry. Therefore, being outdone by someone, or rather something, in combat is a huge deal. In Prey, the Sqauds was a bunch of kids literally armed with sticks and stones. They were no match and barely capable of fighting back for a hot minute. If they had actually been battle-hardened warriors, it would have been an entirely different story. The Sqauds in the reboot mostly existed to patronize the protagonist rather than add value in any shape or form to the story.
Who invited you? We won't be gone long enough to need a cook.
The introduction of the settlers was a much needed step up. Unfortunately, it backfired to an extent as the Predator showed his combat prowess and toughness. Because of that, his abilities and gadgets needed to be scaled back for the final fight in order for him to be a defeatable foe. I'll elaborate on this in a bit. The 1950s housewife conflict between the mother and the daughter is tired rhetoric.
Why do you want to hunt? Because you all think that I can't.
It's not just out of place in a Predator movie, but in the franchise as a whole. Machiko Noguchi is a human recognized by the Yautja in the Alien vs Predator comic from 1990. In the Alien vs Predator movie, the lone survivor is also recognized by a Predator. Thankfully, the movie kept the social commentary on the down low, but it could have quickly turned into a slippery slope. The reason why it bothered me is that a lot of screen time was wasted on the caricatures of fighters patronizing the protagonist rather than being worthy hunters or prey.
When your brother comes back, he and I will find the lion. Kill him.
Unlike the original, where every member of Dutch's team was a capable fighter and made their last stand against the Predator, Prey got rid of most of them in the blink of an eye with a Wilhelm scream. The settlers were no different. As I mentioned before, the Predator's power and weaponry needed to be adjusted to accommodate for his weaker opponent. A 9-foot-tall, 3-crown jumping, barehanded, bear-killing, combat-trained alien monster is losing in hand-to-hand combat against a young, inexperienced girl who barely knows how to hunt. Not even Dutch, literally one of the strongest specimens of the human race, and an experienced soldier could stand up to a Predator in a physical altercation. In order to cover the disparity, Dutch devised and built multiple traps to gain an advantage. And although Naru does it too, she does it on the fly without any sort of major prep time, while also engaging in hand-to-hand combat in the midst of the bout, and winning no less. As much as you want to defend the final fight, it was definitely the weakest and least believable part of the movie, starting with her just standing still.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Predators can see. They have eyes. Infrared vision allows a predator to track their prey more easily, but predators can still see. Otherwise, they'd be running into every damn tree in the forest. You could argue that he ignored her because she posed no threat, but she uses the herb to lower her body temperature, implying that the scene is an homage to when Dutch was submerged in water. Because of his lowered body temperature, the predator ended up overlooking him by chance. The important thing to notice here is though, Dutch was hidden. Naru just stood out there in the open. If she would have hidden in the trees or bushes ready for an ambush, it would have saved the scene. It's this negligence and oversight in the last part of the movie that really rubbed me the wrong way. Summed up, the two things that bothered me the most were, firstly, how dull the threat of the predator was. The settlers were legit more of a threat to the villagers than the predator. And secondly, how underwhelming the indigenous Suicide Squad was, with the exception of Naru's brother. Despite all its flaws, I still enjoyed the movie a great deal. I thought the locales were amazing and the directing, casting and acting were solid. It had a few scenes that seemed unnecessary and came too close for comfort of breaking the immersion.
Your father left you that to cut breadfruit with.
Anyway, I'm interested to hear what you guys think, and am I right or am I wrong? The action was handled well, unlike Morbius for example, where the VFX, cuts and movement destroyed the action scenes as I explained in this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, try another one, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you again.